So here's our illustration. We have a width of 4 and a length of 16, giving us our area of 64 meters squared still. And there's our perimeter formula, 2 times the length plus width. We'll substitute in our length of 16, our width of 4. When we add those together, we get 20. And we'll multiply that value by 2 to give us 40 meters. So therefore, the perimeter for the playground that is 16 by 4, or a width of 4 and a length of 16, is 40 meters. So we filled in our perimeter of 40 meters when our width was 4 and our length was 16. And our next two factors are 8 and 8, because 8 times 8 still gives us 64. So we'll have a width of 8 and a length of 8, and we'll take a look at the perimeter in this case. So here's our 8 by 8 rectangle, or in this case a square, giving us an area of 64, 8 times 8, and we'll take a look at a perimeter. So it's 2 times the length plus the width. We'll substitute in our value of 8 for the length and 8 for the width. If we add those two in the brackets first, it gives you 16, and we'll multiply that by 2. Giving us a total perimeter of 32 meters. So therefore, the perimeter for the playground that has dimensions 8 by 8, where the length and the width are both 8, the perimeter is going to be 32 meters. So we filled in that the perimeter is 32 meters when our width is 8 and our length is 8. And we'll take a look at our last possibility here, where we have factors of 16 and 4. So 16 times 4 is 64. So we'll have a width of 16 and a length of 4, and we'll try and figure out what the perimeter is going to be in this case. So here's the next rectangle, and if we take a look at the perimeter, it's twice the length plus the width. And if you sub in your value of 4 for the length and 16 for the width, add those two together, giving you 20. Then multiply by 2 gives you 40 meters. So therefore the perimeter, and you may have noticed that this perimeter is the exact same value when we have a 4 by 6, so when the length is 4 and the width is 16, or if those values were reversed, if we had a 16 by 4, it gives you the same perimeter of 40 meters. So this perimeter is 40 meters as well. So here's our completed table, where we have the area fixed all the way down as being 64 meters squared. We have our different lengths and widths for possibilities, and the perimeter that results from each of those different dimensions. And again, you notice that the one that was 16 by 4 was the same as 4 by 16. They both gave you a perimeter of 40 meters. What we needed to look at is the possibility or the dimensions that gave us the smallest perimeter for a fixed area of 64. And you may have a look here in this row. When the length and the width were both 8 meters, that's our lowest value here for perimeter. Gave us 32 meters. So to wrap up our solution, we noticed that the smallest perimeter occurred when the length was 8 and the width was 8. And therefore, in general, the smallest perimeter for a rectangle occurs when the length is equal to the width and the shape is going to be a square. So to have the maximum area, yet the smallest perimeter, it's always going to be a square. The next assignment or question that we're going to take a look at deals with an activity called Greenhouse Commissions. We're going to open and complete this activity. Greenhouse Commission says that Elaine and Daniel are building rectangular greenhouse. They want to have an area of the floor to be 36 meters squared. And since the glass walls are expensive, they want to minimize the amount of glass wall that they use. They have commissioned you to design a greenhouse which minimizes the cost of the glass walls. We're going to complete as much of a table as we can to determine the dimensions that result in the least perimeter while keeping the area of the floor as 36 meters squared. So you'll need to set up and complete a table that looks something like this, where we have the area of 36 meters squared fixed all the way down. We're going to take a look at some factors of 36, which will give us our width and the length of their greenhouse, and we'll try and figure out how much the perimeter is going to be in each of those cases.